and welcome to your latest Dreadlocks informational video. Today we're going to be talking about tip rubbing. It's basically the same as clockwise root rubbing, but they took the word clockwise out of it and took it from the roots to the tips. Who are they? I'm not entirely sure. Okay. Tip rubbing is a way of kind of encouraging tips to blunt themselves without using a crochet hook. It emulates a sort of day-to-day rubbing that your tips may go through during, like months of day-to-day life, which would eventually lead to some people's dreadlocks blunting at the tips. Not everyone's dreadlocks blunt. It's kind of potluck. I will try to demonstrate tip rubbing and then go through, like the pros and cons of doing it and things like that. So, tip rubbing, we will take this dreadlock as my example. I don't really have blunted tips on any of my dreadlocks. They kind of look blunted-ish, but if you look, they're actually all wispy, but just short and wispy. So to rub this tip, I'm going to grab it and try and sort of hold it roughly where it starts to become dreadlock, and then just be kind of holding the tip end. And then I will start to rub it in a circular motion into my palm until it sort of starts to ball up. Now it takes a little bit of practice to understand how you want to be rubbing this so that it balls round rather than just frays out. Round and round and round. As you can see, it's starting to get quite ugly, but it's not quite as wispy as it was before. Now I'm going to fold this over a little bit so that now I'm holding it in a loop. Like that, and then roll that loop. It's easier to roll them once you get it to a point where you can roll it in a loop, because it kind of just rolls around easier than when you're just rolling the tip. Round, round, round. Like the root rubbing, it doesn't matter which way you rub them. I know clockwise root rubbing is called clockwise root rubbing, but it's just a name. It really makes no difference. And then after you've done this for a long time, and maybe after your palms are all bloodied and raw, no. Don't go that far, please. You may find that it has started to be more blunt-ish. Look at that. To get this to work, you kind of have to stick at it. I think if I just left that one alone and showered, it would probably start to come out. So it takes work and practice, and not everyone's dreads will hold this shape. And your dreadlocks do have to sort of be of a certain age before they will start to hold this shape. So, like blunting any tips, if your dreads are really young and soft, they're not going to hold this shape at all. And if your dreads are still young, you'll probably have too much loose length to actually even be able to start this. The pros and cons of doing this, the pros being you can get your tips to be blunted without using a crochet hook. So you don't actually have to own a crochet hook, and you don't have to go through the whole pros and cons of crochet hooking. It's basically just speeding up the wear and tear that your tips would normally get, and they can start to blunt by themselves. Kind of. It's not really blunting by themselves, but it's the same sort of action. The cons, basically the same cons as all friction-based maintenances, in that if you're rubbing hairs like that, you do run the risk of breaking hairs, especially if they're really dry and brittle. So if I kept working on that, I would start to break hairs, because it's getting stretched and rubbed and all that. More cons is it's not going to work for everyone. If you have really young dreads that are super soft still and not tough and mature, then it's not going to hold. It's just going to wash out. Even people with mature dreads, it's not guaranteed that it's not going to wash out. I would think that a lot of that would start to come wispy and loose again if I didn't keep working on it, and I'm not going to keep working on it. And also, it's kind of ugly looking. You don't get the same sort of neat tip as you do with crocheted blunted tips. Over time it would start to get neater, but it's definitely not the same sort of instant fix like a crochet hook would do. And then of course there's all the cons that go along with having blunted tips in general, such as they take longer to dry because they hold water and don't let the water flow cleanly through like a wispy tip does. But that is more of a blunted tip versus wispy tip video. So that is blunting tips with the tip rubbing method. If you want to blunt your tips without being as invasive as crochet hooking, this might be the method for you. If you want to give it a try and you're comfortable with all the sort of risks involved. If you have any questions or comments or queries regarding dreadlocks in general, or me in general, or something completely unrelated, you can leave it in the comment section, or you can comment on Facebook, which is facebook.com/lazydreads, or you can tweet at twitter.com/lazy_dreads. If you like this video, if you enjoyed it, if you found it informative, click the thumbs up button and then I will know that you did. And if you want to see more videos from me, you can push the subscribe button and then all my new videos will be sent to you via the magic of the internet to your YouTube feed. As always, you can find all my stuff on lazydreads.com, and thank you for watching and farewell!